What's up? What's up? It's Undercover Dumpster Fire coming at you live on YouTube, and also will be on Apple and Spotify and where else, Eric? Where are you streaming this thing to?
Man, new phone. I haven't even got the login right, so I couldn't go to YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. I couldn't get there, and
That's all right.
we've
So
had
we're
some,
just
we've
doing
had
it.
some troubles. Do you mean to
Yeah.
flip the camera sideways? Are we good?
Nope. This is perfect. Yeah, I can't
All
flip it
right.
because remember what happens? I turn sideways and everything, and
Oh
then
yeah, and
yep,
then Matt
yep.
starts cracking up.
Yeah, and so yeah, we're missing one of our undercover dumpster fires, Matt Pitcher, Matty P, and we'll just send a shout out to him, and we'll also send a shout out to Stephen Woods, who is somewhere in the world, and so we're missing a few people, but also this is perfect because tonight we're talking about a couple things that are specific to Eric, and then I want to announce a few things too. So. Eric, you want to say anything? Introduce yourself, whatever you need to do to say hello.
Um, well, I mean, is this for new viewers? So I'm Eric
Yeah,
Reynolds. I'm a retired police officer from Boynton Beach, Florida, son of a cop. Battled heart disease, retired early. Now I'm saving first responders as a peer support specialist, a health
yeah,
coach. I've saved so many guys just by helping them look at their own diets and, diets related to the brain, and it's led into the mental health aspect of things. So shout out for Red Friday out there. All you vets, we're thinking about you. Come home soon, and let's
that's
stop
right.
fighting for other people. Let's start fighting for ourselves.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so here's a couple things. My name's Willie, and I'm a prior firefighter turned counselor turned actor turned writer. I don't know what I'm doing now. I'm just doing all kinds of things. I'm an artist. That's what I'm doing. I'm creating art every day. And so it might be a pile of rocks, it might be a movie, might be who knows. But every day create something, and that's been the best thing that I've ever done for my life. And I'm in month 5 of a 6 month commitment to create something every day. And some things are like sandcastles, literally, and sometimes it's more art in general, like a movie. We got a couple of them coming up. So if you look at my profile on Instagram or whatever, you'll see me start talking about it. It's also on IMDb, and that's not what we're trying to talk about tonight, though. And so here's the thing: I've been working with Eric on this project called Peer Specialist, and I've trained a lot of police, fire, EMS, dispatch, and other folks too, teachers, ER nurses, ICU nurses, people in schools on how to be a peer supporter. And what that really is just somebody that's like somebody else that has lived experience, and then they learn how to share it with someone else so that that other person can then maybe be encouraged and continue life a lot of times, really. I mean, we're talking about like suicide stuff. And so, people in emergency services and mental health, um, it's wicked right now. I have a lot of people hit me up saying things are really bad. I get that, and I also get that we need to talk about what is good and what's helping. So, Eric, you've been tell me. So I know your story, but so the people who are listening, so they understand.
So Willie just disappeared. So I don't know if I'm still running the show now. Oh, I was gonna just go solo. I lost you, Will. Do you hear me?
Can you hear
Oh,
me?
here. Now I can hear you. Now I can hear you. We good? So the carnivore is not helping the beard too much, but for the most part, I got rid of the rest of the gray. The rest of the gray's gone. So, all right. So some of the things we're doing, I think he's back. Maybe not.
Hey,
Hey,
back.
you're
Hey, it's
back.
true. 16-cent Productions. It started with 16 cents when I was broke as a joke. And you know what? I'm not rich, so I'm not far off from that. And I have a little more than 16 cents. But our podcast, this thing is run on grit and humor. So we're humoring you right now. So if you're paying attention, let me just rephrase what I was asking before I got a phone call and I'm on my phone because my iPad doesn't work. And I don't know, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. So, Eric, You tell us what you've been working on for the last couple of years, specifically leading up to cops and campers. Just give us the skinny version of it.
Well, one of the things when we were discussing this peer specialist, peer support specialist, whatever you want to call it, I realized I've been kind of doing this whole program all along. You know,
Yeah.
guys are reaching out to me, guys and girls, whether it's health topics, you know, about metabolic health and heart disease and how to read your blood work, or maybe it was about diet and what kind of foods are you eating and what you shouldn't eat, whether it's processed, real foods, vegetables or not vegetables, you know, all these different questions.
Hmm.
And the same time, you know, guys were talking to me, you know, vets I would meet in this life, and whether they're first responder vets or military vets, and we would just have a common bond talking about trauma, you know, and then some of
Hmm.
the things that would happen in these conversations would be diet. Hey, bro, you got that big old stomach, you know, we should start stretching, get your body moving. Let's get outside in the sunlight. Let's get you,
Yeah.
you know, let's think about other things besides the demons and stuff like that. So over time, I realized I've been helping so many guys, phone calls, whether it's a chat online or, you know, like you know, you're handling phone calls all day long. I talk all the time, and I'm realizing I'm just documenting, you know, hey, this guy I text with this much and this much. And all of a sudden I realize I've been helping all these guys at the same time. I'm
Yeah.
helping myself too, because it's
Yeah.
therapeutic to talk to them and to help them,
Yeah.
and it's healing myself. So yeah, it's turned into this real positive thing that I'm doing, and other guys are now interested in doing it for guys they know. You know, so
That's
now we're
what's up.
spreading like wildfire.
This is Undercover Dumpster Fire, and guess what? It got out of the dumpster and then it lit the freaking forest on fire. That's what's going on. So yeah, good job, brother. Yeah, well, let me add some structural stuff. So what we've done is I've been teaching people peer support for years now. I'm not good at math, so I'm not going to do the math, but a long time, in my opinion. For the last 20 years, I've researched resiliency. And what I found is that where people, when they're in the height of their troubles, when they're feeling suicidal or they're feeling like they just want to not be here anymore, then a lot of times what they need to do is reach out to somebody, but they won't. And so, what's better than think like a dartboard, and in the middle is the person that needs help, and the people on the very outside are like the mental health people and all these programs and stuff. They're way on the outside. The people on the very inside are the crew, the people that are sitting right next to them in the squad car, the people that are sitting right there in their house, their best buddies, that kind of thing, best friends. So what we try to do with peer specialists is to leverage that and to then add in some training, some Eric, you've already been doing it, so this was easy for me and you to figure this out. So what Eric did was documented 500 hours of peer support. And so to my knowledge, that's the highest standard that I've seen anywhere in the country. And there might be other things. I don't know everything. This is 16 cent productions, so I'm limited to what we know, what we can figure out, on a dime budget, or 16 cents. And so the other thing is the VA, Veterans Administration, actually hires peer specialists, and they require 80 hours of training. And so what we did was we developed 80 hours worth of training and 500 hours worth of experience that was documented, and some of it he'd already been doing. And so then him and I met. I'm a licensed mental health professional, and here's the cool thing: is that what we're trying to do is take what the VA is doing and apply it elsewhere. We also need to apply it to the Department of Defense, because the Department of Defense does not have peer specialists. They have master resilience trainers, and they have a master resilience training program, which is awesome. And it's basically the same thing, but it's also connected in a way that might add a barrier because people don't always want to speak up when they're active duty. They don't always want to be like, hey, I have a problem, because sometimes that gets turned around. And I'm not naming anybody's names, I'm not calling anybody out, but I've seen this happen in police where they go seek help for, I don't know, a shooting, and and then maybe they're working with they don't have a peer support person. They just have a clinician that's maybe attached to the department or in the community. And guess what happens? So when they go to try to find another job or they go for a promotion, what happens, Eric? You ask for help. You got PTSD now, and you're trying to go get a promotion. I can just tell you, if you don't know, a lot of times it becomes a barrier, and they don't get hired. They don't get promoted they're seen as like, what the heck's wrong with this person? And guess what?
Yep.
Every person, if you've been in the fire service, you've been in emergency services of any sort for any amount of time, you've been touched. You've been in the
Yeah,
fire.
it would have been nice to talk to somebody when I was going through my workers' comp battle.
Yeah,
Yet, like I said, I battled workers' comp. I was already shot, but I still had to fight with the lawyers to get the help, for
exactly.
the mental side of things. And they made
Yep.
me break down in front of a room full of lawyers. And I wish
Ah,
I had someone
right.
else to talk to at that point, and I didn't. I
Yeah.
don't, you're trying to hide it from your department. You're still trying to get help, and
Hmm.
there's no one else to turn to. And one of the best
Yeah.
things that we talked about was the confidentiality of this
Yeah.
that you'll have as a peer support. So some guy can
Hmm.
call me that wants to vent to me, and it's
Yeah.
freaking on lockdown. It's like patient client, patient and
Yeah.
doctor confidentiality type of thing. And
Hmm. Because you're
and
working
I
under
think
my license in that way. When you're
right, guys
working
need
with a
that. They need
clinician, yeah.
they need the confidence to know what they're telling you is not going to get
Hmm.
back to that a-hole that is maybe causing the issues, right? So I
Yeah.
mean, it could be a lot of that, or it could be his wife, or it could be his kids or something that's, and he
Yeah.
doesn't know what to do with it. But that's why we're there, and
Yeah.
then we can at least, I've gone through it. I've gone through divorce, being shot, being, as a police officer, trying to just survive that world. Son of a
Yeah.
police officer, I got trauma from what my mom's career did to me,
It's
so there's a
generations. Yeah.
lot of things there, and I was also metabolically sick. I played football for 13 years, a lot of head trauma.
Hmm.
I had unreported concussion. So there's a lot going
Ah.
into this world that
Yeah.
we're all discovering with the trauma and the use of
Yeah. For
medications,
real.
which has failed us, and we need to
Hmm.
explore or other avenues like peer supports, talking, campfire, swimming, you
Yeah.
know,
All the
calming
stuff.
down our central nervous system. So yeah,
Hmm.
working for you and underneath this practice, I think it's going to be just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what's up. So taking the experience you have and then using it in a way to help somebody else who's still in the undercover dumpster fire. You know what I'm saying? And they're smoldering over there, and we could see it. And here's the thing: is so Eric's done 80 hours of training. He's done 500 hours of experience that's documented. He's done more than that, but that's just what we came up with in the last year, which was amazing. And so what's also cool about this is I'm gonna nerd out for a second. Okay, so I run a private practice and it's a multi-specialty medical practice. So what I want to see and what we're working on is peer specialists working with a licensed counselor or licensed mental health professional of some sort. They have to be fully licensed, so no interns and stuff like that. People that have been there, done that. I prefer with at least 10 years experience if possible, because there's a lot of complex things happening, and then also working with an MD, a medical doctor, or a DO, doesn't matter, just somebody to oversee the whole thing. And so, long story short, that is a team. And so, what we're putting out there in the world, we're manifesting this thing because I don't have money. I don't know who I need to talk to, blah, blah, blah. If you know who we need to talk to, then you let us know. Send us a message, send us an email. All of those are in the links. And what we want to see is peer specialist, clinician, and MD all working as a team. And so when somebody reaches out and they need help, or if you just kind of see somebody that needs help as a peer specialist, it's your job then to engage them and to just share your story, not from like, like it's not from ego. It's not from ego at all. It's from love. It's actually not like a weird love. You know what I'm saying? It's I'll try to keep it PG-13. Oh, by the way, if you didn't know this already, one, I have ADHD, so I bounce around a lot. But two, we have a new rule so that we don't get shadow banned. Hopefully,
Mm.
okay. So what we have to do, and I'm gonna borrow. I asked for permission. So one of my combat guys was telling me today when they're over in Afghanistan that that one of the jokes that they would play just to buy time is anytime they would swear, they'd have to use just the first letter in a swear word. So if you wanted to say like MFGDSBMF, like you would have to do that, and it gets kind of challenging. And so we're trying to do that because we need to fly under the radar with PG-13 ratings so that YouTube quits shadow banning us. We can't. We're like invisible basically, and so if you hear us doing that, Eric just did it. He was calling it a hole, so he already did the first one. Good job, brother. But
Yeah,
anyway, I'm
yeah,
gonna try to clean it up.
the F word is a good one. I could drop, oh, that effing douchebag, or something like that, or is douchebag no longer PG-13? I don't
Hey,
know.
we're always gonna be shadow man. I don't even really care, but we are trying to reach people, and we just want to have real conversations. And unfortunately, we have to like work around these like things that are happening right now with censorship and blah 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 blah, which is annoying. But long story short, what we need to talk about today is Eric finishing that peer specialist training, and then being able to then use that and multiply. So Eric, how do you envision yourself using peer specialists? Not that you haven't before, just now that we're kind of formalizing it. What would you like to do with it?
So one of the issues I had the last, I guess, 5 years, or actually 4 years, when I started Cops and Campers, the retreat program for first responders, a little plug there, um, was financing it.
Hmm.
Trying to help guys. How do I tell them where to go, where their state is? Like, I don't know everything about, like, especially they're a vet. I don't know everything about the VA hospitals and what they
Hmm.
cover. And then when you mention that there's actually a health or an insurance code
There is.
that could be used to
There's
cover
several
this,
of them.
what I've been doing, it opened my eyes to, wow. So now I can actually, the guys are already paid, they paid the price for the insurance, or they're paying for the
Yeah.
insurance already. So rather
Hmm.
than using it to go see a doctor, it's just going to write a little scribble on a notepad and send you to Mr.
Hmm.
Pharma. Then, or is pharma an F word now? I don't know, right? So,
Effing pharma.
so,
Big effing
you
pharma.
know, this will give us a way to have some weight to it. And then when we're working with a doctor, or
Hmm.
we're working with another clinician, or maybe even a nutritionist like myself or something like that, they can help.
Yeah.
We'll have some more, more gusto in it, because we have, he's
Hmm.
got more in it. I've got something in it. It'll
Yeah.
make me more disciplined on myself and following up with guys, because now I'm more
Yeah.
accountable. When you're trying to do it pro bono all the time, and then you're trying
It's
to get
tough.
donations, or you're trying to sell a
Hmm.
t-shirt here or there, I'm realizing how many more people I can help,
Yep.
by scheduling them throughout the day. They could use their little insurance, their little health card that they get, the little bonus health card. The one I say,
Yeah.
when I used to use at
Appreciate that.
Walgreens, but I used it in the liquor store when I was drinking, because I was a
They let you
freaking
use it.
drunk. And it would
The
work
hell.
because it says freaking pharmacy there, but I was
Oh yeah,
buying
true.
booze. So it
Hmm.
wouldn't work at the regular store, but it worked at Walgreens liquor.
The Walgreens.
So,
It
anyways,
worked
guys could
consistent.
use that, to pay for services,
Yeah.
whether it's chiropractors, or it's,
Hmm.
meditations, or stretch therapy, or, they could even get a prescription for the gym if the doctor knows where to look and how to write that
Yeah.
out. Save a little
Yeah.
money that way.
Exactly.
So there's all kinds of things this is going to
Hmm.
open up to give guys, and we
Yeah.
need our own VA as first responders. I keep saying
I
it.
know. I know.
Eventually charge me 2 cents every paycheck for the rest of my career, and every cop out there,
Hmm.
throw that into a freaking kitty and let that grow. And then we'll have a
Yeah.
little something to go with, and it's just a
Yeah.
shame that we don't have an avenue to go to after we retire. And that's
That's
why
true.
guys are,
Yeah.
doing other things that's not positive.
Hmm. Well, and I have to say this. So usually when I train peer support people, it's within the department, and that needs to happen too. But actually, what we're doing is we're taking this outside the department, and I'm challenging the people who are retired, or they retired early, or they want to just give back, or maybe they want a side job. I don't know. But the idea is that when it's inside the department, that's great, but also it's inside the department. So there's obligations inside the department, like reporting when there's crimes and things happening. Guess what? This is kind of wild. So under my license, unless it's suicide, homicide, gravely disabled, or some kind of, you know, like international, you know, bad intentions or something where I feel like someone's gonna harm, like, on a mass scale, which would also be homicidal, then everything is confidential. Okay, with me and with Eric. When this kind of system, when it's inside the department, is not. Okay, so there are confidentiality laws depending on what state you're in, but in Colorado, those didn't even go into effect until 2016, which is not that long ago. And Colorado's not the only one that's, like that. And not every state has confidentiality laws for peer support. So we need to fix that. But I would just challenge people to say, hey, get trained as a peer specialist. And guess what? How much money did I charge you, Eric? How much money did this training cost?
Zero.
I don't care about money. I really don't care. And I'm not just saying that. I don't care about money. And this is not a money thing. What I care about is people actually getting the help that they need. So what we want to do is take people who are willing and able and also in recovery on their own path and then give them training so that they can become a peer specialist. They can recruit a clinician in their neighborhood. One, you got to vet them because there's some that are like, and then some are dialed in. They're just like the
Yeah,
awesome people
right.
out there, and they're just, we have to connect them. We have to get them, connected. And so then in a private practice, that clinician then gets a peer specialist that gets to reach out and do these things to help their clients. And then guess what? They also have a reach back on a higher level on a medical system to have someone. They have to find one in your neighborhood, but they're not hard to find. Go to the ER, ask the doc there. They'll tell you who's willing. And guess what? The supervision, that's really minuscule, like minuscule, because the actual work is done by Eric.
Right.
Like
And I'll
that's where
take
the
you
power is.
shopping. We'll go shopping for the right food. We'll go to the
Yeah,
gym. We'll go, like, I'll show you how to calm yourself
that's what's
down
up.
out in nature. You're talking about swimming with the dolphins down there in Marathon.
Yeah.
Another big thing you were talking about is like these poor guys that had to show up at that plane crash in Louisville, right? You lost
Oh,
13 people, got killed. You got first
yeah.
responders showing up all over the place. And this is when we would show up to help those
Hmm.
first responders that are on scene,
Yeah,
that are
exactly.
exhausted, not knowing
Yep.
how to handle this. Like we had discussed, I never handled a plane crash before, but what would have been
Yeah.
nice if some guy had been there and was telling us
Yeah.
what you're going to experience, how you're going to go up
Exactly.
and down, and how planes now are going to be something with you when planes maybe didn't
Yeah.
bother you before. So
Now they
I think
are.
this is just, like I said, we're going to be able to do so many good things, and we can get us
Yeah.
all over the country, respond locally to
Hmm.
events, get together at a big one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are going to be earthquakes and there are going to be hurricanes
They're
and
big stuff.
fires, and that's where they need
Hmm.
us.
Yeah, true. And this happened in Texas with the floods earlier this year. I'm licensed in Texas, Colorado, and Florida. And soon it'll be nationally because now there's a compact license coming out. It's just all the states have to play together, which means they have to pay together. It's a money thing again. There we go. What's wrong with this system? All right, so I'm going to digress because that's the soapbox. Um, so there already are some different license types that have compact licenses that can practice anywhere in the country. And so I have to limit myself. And then if I'm working with somebody outside of those three states, then I do resilience consulting, which is just me giving education. It's not actually, I'm not a licensed clinician in that role. I'm just an educator. And I can do that. I can give education anywhere in the world. And nobody can say a darn thing about it. And they can't make me pay for it either. And I'm not making people pay for it
That's
because
like,
I feel,
I'm sorry, I was
yeah,
going to say same thing with being a nutritionist. You can't be a dietitian because they own that title. Depending on what
yes,
state you go to,
titles.
you can't. It's this game. You want to know how to eat and get healthy? Talk to a nutritionist. Stay away from those
Yeah,
dietitians because they've been feeding the wrong garbage all these years while we're getting fatter and sicker. Anyways, that's another soap.
yeah.
That's my
It's a
soapbox.
whole nother thing. Yeah, but I would just say if anybody's interested, get a hold of me or Eric. You can, I don't know, like we're in the internet world. You can figure it out. Like
Just
call us,
Google keto
email,
50.
get a hold of Eric, and we'll figure this out. So long story just to say that Eric is the first one that I've trained to that level, and in my opinion, it's a national standard. It should be. And if you see me getting all crazy with the government trying to advocate, like I will go in front of Congress and do this if I'm allowed to. I'm just a guy. But you know what? Ordinary citizens, they need to actually have that kind of gusto to speak up when things need to be changed. And you don't need a bunch of alphabets behind your name to do this stuff. Eric, do you have a bunch of alphabets behind your name?
No, and you don't
I
even
mean,
have to be a first. I was going to say, you don't even have to be a first responder to be a peer
true.
specialist. You could be a karate instructor. You could be a
Yeah,
teacher. You could
it's
be
whoever your
an.
people are.
You could run an orphanage and be the head director and run
Exactly.
that, and you're making a difference. And
Hmm.
kids out there and more people need that
Yep.
if you're available. If you got the
Yeah.
time.
Exactly. I've done with this with teachers. I've done this with ICU nurses, which they're peer specialist stuff, not peer specialist. I've done peer support, which got really weird. I'll just say, I won't say where because then you can figure it out. But I'll just say the chaplaincy program. was kind of threatened by that, which I'm like, bro, you're here to help people and you're threatened by peer support. What's wrong with this scenario? I like chaplains, but also like if people get territorial, it's like, what's wrong with you? This is not.
Yeah,
I operate in an abundance mentality, not a scarcity mentality. So that means there's an abundance of things and places to go and people to see and things to meet and money even will come and go. I don't even care if I have money. As long as I have what I need today, that's all I need. That's all I got is today. I'm not guaranteed. Nobody's guaranteed another day. And on that note, I have to mention that my old fire department, I got a, I, well, I noticed that they had lost one of their firefighters. It was not in the line of duty, but obviously those are like losing family members,
mhm.
and so I just want to send a shout out to those folks. I'm not going to name names and do all that, but I just my heart breaks for people that I used to serve with, and when they're sad, I'm sad, and so I'm
Yeah,
thinking of them, and in those times, there's really nothing you can say or do except for I call it the ministry of presence. You just you're just in it with them, and that's peer support also. And so sometimes when you're like struggling, you don't know what to do or say, you don't say nothing at all. You just let them know I see you and I'm with you. That's it. And
yeah. You
there's
just
not a whole lot else. So
I took this army vet the other day that was here camping that doesn't have a car because she drives one of those ones that you got to drive around the whole house. So for her to go
okay.
to the store, she got to bring her. So I took her, and we're walking. She's got a therapy dog, that she has to keep back at her house. So as we go shopping, here I am with her walking in the store, looking at ingredients. I'm saying, don't get that, get this. I'm being a support specialist for her
Yeah,
as I'm walking with her. And
yeah.
we've already talked shop, trauma, we've already talked it all. So just that companionship, knowing I got her
Hmm.
back, she got my back. But that's what it
Yeah.
was about. It was only an
It's a
hour of my
relationship.
time.
Yep.
And she knows
That's
I'm there
cool.
for her. She's there for me. And that's, it grows,
Keep it up.
and she could go back
Yeah.
to Vegas and Pebbles. I'm still with you, girl, and she'll see this one day
Hey.
watching videos, and she's
Hmm.
great people. But that's what you do. You end up reaching out to so many people. And now she's going to help somebody because of what I did for
Exactly.
her. So,
It's like a fire. Fire doubles size every 30 seconds, or it can.
wow.
Double. So that means if you light a match and you stick it on something that has enough oxygen and there's a fuel there, that it can double every 30 seconds. So you think one little spark is not much, but when it starts to double and it takes off, that's what we're doing here. And so the undercover dumpster fire is breaking out. We're breaking out of the dumpster and we're lighting the whole world on
We're
fire.
spreading
Not
out.
literally, we're just spreading hope. We're spreading that, hey, these are the things that help. And who cares about the systems? I don't care about systems that they're meant to like hold people in boxes, and you will never put me in a box. I don't fit in any effing box ever. I've never fit in a box, and I will never ever fit in the effing box in the future. And I just used that twice. So maybe I should get like we should get like put money in a jar every time we do the new swearing rule. But hey, last thing I want to say is because we're gonna break here. We're at 30
Yeah.
minutes already. Time goes fast.
Yeah.
On November 22nd, it's a Friday, 2 weeks from now, we're gonna have the founder, Chris Maletta. He's gonna be on here as a person we're interviewing, and he is the founder of Carry the Flag USA. So I just want to say this: that is not a political thing. That is an American thing. So ordinary citizens just picking up the flag and remembering what it means to them. And so sometimes people can go see that in sideways ways. If you see me carrying a flag, it's not a political statement. This is just me being an American. I'm a servant. I grew up that way, and my whole family's like that. And so I like to help people, and I know people have lots of stuff going on with the flag and everything, but I just want to say that we're gonna have him on here in 2 weeks, and he's gonna tell us all about it. And that movement is spreading like wildfire, and you'll see us interacting with them in the future. So, Eric, do you say why don't you say anything? We're at 8:30 right now.
Oh, anybody going to be at Tampa in 2 weeks? I'll be actually a week next weekend. I'll be at Hack Your Health in Tampa. So hit me up if you're there. No, I know
Mhm.
everything's crazy, but you know,
Mhm.
look me up there, Keto 50, Cops and Campers. You find out more information, and you can find out how
Mhm.
passionate I am about the flag.
That's what's up. Yeah, that's what's up. Hey, if I can be there, I will. So if I'm there, we're gonna go live. Yeah, it'll be good. All right. We'll see y'all next week. Take care.
Yep.
See if I can end it.